Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to talk about this guy. Well, it is this guy, but it's this guy right here. This 1:6 power scope by, it's hard to say who actually makes this thing, but it's Easy Shoot SFP 1:6 by 24, right? Let's talk about it. All right, before we get actually into all this stuff, I do need to say straight up, right out the gate, this optic was sent to me to review and to make this video, right? So I did not pay for this optic. This probably isn't even something that I would have really sought after and tried to get. But after having it, honestly, I think it has some merit. Okay, so again, this was sent to me. So if you have to hear what I say with a grain of salt in your ears, go ahead and do that. But as always, I try to give you my absolute best, honest opinion. Just trying to give you as good information as I can. Okay, so basically, what this is, just like I said in the name, a 1:6 by 24 scope. So kind of low power variable, however, a low power optic that goes from 1:6, whatever. I know there's catchphrase words that you can use and stuff, and I'm not cool like that, whatever, I don't know. But a 1:6 power scope, I like that, right? I have a 1:4 from another company, a higher tier brand, or a higher tier than this guy. It's still a mid-low tier brand, in my opinion. And it has worked well. It has done its job and everything. This guy's giving it a run for its money, and this guy is cheaper. As of right now, I believe these things are running somewhere around the ballpark about 120 bucks, right? There will be an affiliate link down below. I'll probably say at the end of the video. From what I understand, I think it's an affiliate link. I have no idea. Don't use it if you don't want to. It's no skin off my nose. I don't do this stuff putting links and things trying to make money. I'm just trying to give you information, basically, is what I'm trying to do for you. But from what I saw, they're about 120 bucks at the time of making this video. All right. And for what you get, it has some cool features and stuff that might make it worth that for you, right? How it ships, it does not ship with any rings, right? Which is one thing I did not know at the time. So when it came in, it took me a couple days to try to figure out what I wanted to put it on, because I thought it came with some rings. When I went to go put it on a gun, I was like, oh, snap, I don't have any rings. So I actually had to take off that other 1:4 scope that I had that I talked about. I had to take it off its gun, right? And then I put this guy on these rings. These are arms. I think they're number 22 high rings. They're clone correct for Mark 12. But anyway, squirrel. But I put them on here because I put it on another mount and tried to do this test. And that other mount was a cheapy mount. Cheap mount. And it did not work. I'll show you what happened to that one. Yeah, that guy did not work very well. I got about 200 rounds into that test, and that optic just fell off. Now, and I'm not going to conduct a scope test with a mount that is obviously garbage. That's not fair, right? So I went ahead, that's why, and I liked what I saw from the scope, from how much I had shot it. I liked what I was seeing, so I thought it was worth it. I'm going to take that other scope off, use good rings, even though that scope was on a gun, set up, good to go, all the way, ready to go. It was worth it to me because this setup might just go back on that gun that the other 1:4 was on, and it might just live there, right? Because I think this guy has some potential, right? So what are some main key features of this from what I see? I do believe it says it is waterproof. It has these scope covers, and then you have actual tactile, listen, right? So it actually has tactile, audible, clicks basically when you get to zeroing everything. It's nice and crisp. The scope actually is very nice and crisp. It comes with these little scope cover things, whatever, and the back one's yellow, so when you look through it, it looks kind of different, whatever. I'm not really sure if I really like that so much. I do like the fact that they're see-through, right? So even when they're covered up, they're see-through, and you know, you can at least see through it. I kind of wish they were both clear, but it is what it is. On the opposite end of the gun, or optic, whatever, you have your little cover cap right here that you put your battery in. You also have your brightness settings. And these brightness settings, I'm sure it's not even going to show up in there. I almost guarantee it's not going to show up in there. But it does have, oh, there you go. Yeah, you can kind of see it. It has, I believe it's 5 different brightness settings on green and red, right? And for my purposes, it's kind of cheating a little bit because right now up here in Alaska, we only get about I don't know if we got 6-8 hours. We got like 6 hours of sunlight, whatever. And from where I go shoot, I don't think the sun actually comes out from around the mountain. So you get a nice dusk, really good lighting. I think it's really good lighting, especially for stuff like this. And I had no problem seeing the seeing the chevron. It's not really a chevron, but it's like a circle dot kind of thing. I had no problem seeing that at all. It actually looked very nice, but I was not in like blinding sunlight. If that sun actually came out from around the mountain and hit that sun or hit that snow and just turned into a mirror, I don't know what you'd have to have a really powerful red dot, basically is what I'm trying to say, to actually see against the snow, the reflection of the sun in the snow. Anyway, for my purposes, I could totally see the red or green dot in the environment that I was in. Okay, hope that makes sense. If you're in, I have yet to test this in like true daylight settings, right? And I do plan to do that at some point. But from what I was using, it was working exactly how it needed to work. So basically, my test with this guy, and that's why I'm kind of calling this a review. I zeroed this guy at 36 yards. Because I'm one of those weird 36 yards guys. I do like that zero. It works for me. It's fine. Everybody does their own thing. Whatever. Everybody has their own zero and whatever. But anyway, I zeroed this guy at 36 yards. And here's that 5-shot group. And then I basically had loaded up 500 rounds. So I'm trying not to straight up across the board copy Sage Dynamic stuff, but he has great stuff, and sometimes if you got a great idea, you got a great idea. And I had the opportunity to do it, so I had 500 rounds. I said, let's just crank this sucker up and let's see what we can do as far as vibrating and shocking this guy loose. So here's 500 rounds. All right, so 500 rounds went down pretty well. The scope rings, obviously, these scope rings I think cost more than the scope itself. But they obviously held up perfectly fine versus the other scope mount that I had. It did not, right? It was garbage. These guys worked fine, and everything seemed to hold up just like it needed to work. So here, after the 500 rounds, here's our 5-shot group. All right, so as you can see, this is I believe this is our pre-500 round 5-shot group. And just so everybody's aware of what's going on and everything, this is 36 yards, shot out of a tripod vise, kind of like I forget the term of it right now, like a hog saddle kind of thing, whatever, but it clamps onto the gun, and it's a tripod, right? So it should be very steady. Wind was blowing, it was cold, I was freezing my butt off. And I'm shooting 55 grain Tula. Okay, so to give you an idea of that, we're not shooting some high dollar falutin stuff. We're not doing that. But this is our first 5-shot group. I said, okay, I call that good. That's good enough for government work. 500 rounds, came back and shot this 5-round group down here. Hopefully that's showing up. As you can see, there is technically a shift in zero. I opened up my group a little bit, and that could be the gun being warmed up and everything, but after that 500 rounds, I let that gun sit there in that negative whatever degree weather and the wind chill factor of who knows what, and just chill for like 20 minutes, whatever. And I mean, it got down to where, I mean, I didn't touch the suppressor, but I put snow on it, and the snow was sitting there. It wasn't really melting off necessarily. So it got cooled off pretty quick. So I don't think that there's going to be a big thermal shift in the barrel and all that stuff. I don't think so. What this probably is me being cold. I have no idea. But you can see if you technically find your zero, which is going to be right about here, right, ish, on our pre 500 rounds. Then post 500 rounds, it's kind of basically about a 1/4 inch low or something, technically. In all grand scheme of things, with the ammunition fired and the conditions of shooting that day, and all things considered, for my purposes on this gun, this is not a long range hunting, shooting, whatever kind of gun. This is relatively, it's a low power, very low, whatever it is, LPVO. I know that. This seems to be fine for me, right? That for my purposes. Now, am I running out there trying to shoot warthogs at 9,000 yards? No, I'm sure I'm not. That's not me, right? So for my simple purposes of plinking, shooting, having some fun, this is cool. If you want simple purposes of 100 yards and in, simple shooting, having fun kind of stuff, you do what you need to do. But if you're getting this gun for serious purposes, right, like legitimate life-saving purposes, you're probably not even watching this video because you're probably not even considering the scope. I'll just throw that out there. But if you are wanting to have some fun, right, and get a inexpensive optic, something that has some ability to have nice clarity of glass, which it did. I was very shocked that it was as clear and crisp as it was. To have a very, very, very close, the one power is actually very, very good, right? Even compared to the other company, which I won't name, but it's a mid-range. I don't know how you would rate those things, but it's not a low ball company, right? And it's not one of the higher brands. It's just somewhere there in the middle. And it did decent, but this guy does better, and I believe he's cheaper, right? On your one power, it is nice. It is. Believe it or not, it's actually very nice. It's very easy to see. You do have a little bit of parallax, I will say that. You'd have a little bit of parallax, but even with that, I walked this guy back. I didn't take the video of it, but I walked this guy back to about 110 yards or whatever, and just every now and then I'd stop and I'd just offhand take some shots. Super easy on a, what was it, a foot by 2 foot silhouette. Just easy offhanded in that stinky, nasty wind, just shooting and hitting the steel. It was easy. It was not hard at all. And so even with whatever parallax was there, it was not hard to get solid hits on what I was trying to hit at. Anyway, guys, I hope you found that interesting. I really found this interesting, and this guy really did surprise me. This surprised me enough to where I'm going to probably leave it in this setup and probably leave this gun, because this gun is not, I didn't set it up for this whole kind of thing. It makes a decent little setup. But I'll probably put this back on the gun that it's intended for, which is a 308, which that'll be interesting to test out. Probably won't do a 500 round burn down on that, but it'll be interesting to zero this guy and see what it can do on a medium cartridge, on a 308. But I think it might be a decent choice for that. Either way, we're going to continue using it. This is not something that's just going to get put on a shelf somewhere. I do intend to actually use this guy. I think it's got some purposes. I think it's going to get some good use. Anyway, guys, I hope you found that interesting, helpful. Thank you, folks, to sending this thing out. I really appreciate it. And again, if it's an affiliate link, or even if it's not an affiliate link, if I can link it below, it's an Amazon link, so I think I can link Amazon links below. I will do my best to link that thing down there for you guys. If it's around Thanksgiving, whenever I launch this thing, I think they're running Black Friday sales. Not 100% sure, but I think they are. But go check them out if you really want to check them out. All right, y'all be good to be safe. Hopefully we'll catch you out in the next video.